Hi, my name is Alex and this is Goose. I'm giving you this instructional video today in hopes that you have a reference later on in case you forgot anything during the turnover. There is a lot of information given to you all at once, so I'm hoping that this could be a useful resource for you later down the road. Now, as you know, this is Goose. He is one of our best students. He's just a little bit silly. Now, typically before we do any type of obedience training, we do some exercise. We try to burn off all this excess energy. However, we don't do that when we do the turnover, and I'm not doing it right now because it would be unfair for me to give him to you when he's in his perfect state. I'd rather you troubleshoot how to work through him and navigate all of this craziness. So I do have a different video on how to use the e-collar in terms of safety. For now, I'm just gonna go over the basics of how we're going to pair it with a cue. So for example, if I say, Goose sit, the first one's always gonna be a free one, but the way that I'm gonna say is I'm gonna say his name, get his attention, Goose, sit. So I do two things. I say his name and I do a hand gesture, right? Dogs primarily communicate visually. They don't really use auditory cues the way that we do. So using both is pretty useful. Now, in the event that I say that and he doesn't listen, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna repeat myself, Goose, sit. And I'm going to click and give him a small stimulation. I raise it about a 1/4 inch. Doesn't listen again, I'm going to raise it by another 1/4 inch. What I don't want to do is I don't want to say sit, 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 sit and repeat myself 30 times because now what's happening is that we're losing value in the word sit. Our commands have to have value, right? We are the parents in this relationship. He has to take us serious. So this is why we use the e-collar. Okay, and also do not be afraid to interrupt yourself when you are doing obedience training with him. For example, if I ask him to sit, sit means sit. Doesn't mean anything else but that, meaning he's not allowed to break that cue. The moment that he breaks cue, we're gonna give him that stimulation. Now, when he broke, I kept clicking up until the point where he sat. You didn't see him cry, you didn't see him flinch, you didn't see any of that. The point of this tool is not to be a punishment tool, it's to be a communication tool. So you saw that he broke, I just kept on clicking up until the point where he sat. So it's just a shoulder tapping sensation, nothing crazy. Now, if he does something bad and we repeatedly told him or it's something dangerous, certainly we're gonna go a little bit higher, right? Go to the trash, an immediate off. We're gonna give a stimulation. Let him know that we don't allow that behavior. But for now, he's on a sit cue, no reason to really go high unless he's not listening. So I'm gonna say Goose sit. Now my goal is that I should be able to walk around him and he's not allowed to break the cue. The moment that he does or even thinks about it, we're gonna go ahead and give him a stimulation. Now you notice that I use the word or phrase a lot. So now I'm clicking sit. Notice that I use the word a lot. It's because he's already been conditioned to pair with the stimulation. So when he lays down, I just say I start clicking and then I get him by the leash, sit, and then I get him to sit. Nothing wrong with grabbing him by the leash, although he is off-leash trained. Getting a dog to sit, Getting a dog to go from the sit to the down or the down to the sit can sometimes be hard. Go ahead and use the leash if it's too much. Now, what we're gonna do every now and then, this is how we get him to extend the duration of any cue, is that we do reward him. So now we're gonna click. So I'm clicking this entire time. So now I notice it's not really working too well on him, so I'm going to increase it just a little bit, and I'm gonna adjust this e-collar. I do want to make sure that we're communicating effectively. If he's continuously breaking the cue like he's doing now, it means that me repeating myself isn't working. There's no real accountability that he's taking serious. So we need to make what we say serious. It has to mean something. But on top of it being serious, we also want it to be fun, right, buddy? We gotta reward him. We gotta inspire him, motivate him, keep him interested in even doing this. Nobody works for free, not even dogs. You gotta give them a good reason. Now, just because I give him a treat doesn't mean that the cue is over. Sit means sit. There's only two ways he's gonna get out of a cue, and that is if I say, break, Now, he's allowed to be silly and goofy on the break. He's not allowed to jump on me, so there is a line that we have. Now, we say break, or we get him into the next cue. Now, the next cue could either be a down or a come to sit, whichever, but he's allowed to do whatever he wants right now that he's on break. If he chooses to sit, that's on him. Break, buddy. Now, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna see if he jumps on me. Break, good job, buddy, good job. Okay, so he didn't jump on me. That was good. Sit, Goose sit. So now I'm gonna remind him, and I'm just gonna try to get him to mess up. looking at the floor a lot because he pooped some around here. We picked it up, but knowing my luck. Sit. Perfect. So that's a little bit on the down cue, sit cue. So the next one is going to be our come to sit. So when I say come, all that really matters is that he comes to me, right? I don't really care about all the fancy stuff when we're out in public if it's a dangerous situation. But for now, all intents and purposes, we are going to do a come to sit cue, right? So this is where I say, Goose, come, come. So he jumped on me. So you got to click. Goose, come. Sit. Good job. Over here. Sit. So when he was doing too much, I started clicking immediately. Sit. So as I said, he hasn't had energy. He can't really control himself. It's not his fault, right? I'm not going to raise this super high just because he's being his silly, goofy self, right? This is why we have dogs, because they're silly and goofy. You know, I don't want him to be perfect. So if he messes up, we hold no emotional attachment to it. He messed up. He's a dog. But what I am going to do is that I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm like, okay, if he's messing up, what can I do to meet him in the meet his needs, right? So what I need to do right now is that I need to dial it back a little bit in the training because he's too goofy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab him by the leash. I have a treat on my left hand. I'll put my e-collar away for a little bit. I'm gonna say, Goose, come. I'm gonna guide him around me. Over here. Sit. Yes, and then pay him. Ooh, dropped it. Okay, and then I'm gonna repeat the process until we get him nice and ready. Off. Come. Sit. Perfect. So what I want is for him to loop around me and sit right to my left side. I'm gonna try that again with a treat and a leash. Goose, come. Come. Okay, that was good. It wasn't perfect, so I'm not going to reward. I'm just gonna say, good job, good job. Come. Over here. Sit. Yes, good job. So that's when we reward, right? Because he did it perfectly. A perfect execution of the cue, sit. Perfect execution of the cue gets treats, and okay execution gets okay, sit. So he is on a sit cue, right? So remember, we're interrupting ourselves. Perfect execution gets lots of treats. An okay execution gets okay reward. So I'm gonna try that just one more time. Let's see if we can do it without the e-collar. I don't think he's ready, but he's proved me wrong before. So I'm gonna say, Goose, come. Right here. Sit. Perfect. Good job, buddy. Sit. So now he's in the sit cue. So you got to keep in mind that this is a 2-for-1. It's come and then sit, right? So he is in the sit cue. You got to keep that in mind. Perfect. So the next cue is going to be our down cue, where I'm going to say, Goose, down. Right, so I'm gonna say his name first, and I'm gonna say down, which I point down to the floor, and now he's at the down cue. So the moment that he breaks on it, I'm going to give him a stimulation. Of course, we're keeping it low. Off. There's no eating things off the floor. Off. So whenever I say off, I immediately go higher. Off. Sit. Down. Good job, buddy. I immediately go higher on the off. Off is, that's not acceptable. It's my way of saying It's my way of saying no. And I immediately go up, and there's no freebie on that one. Off is off, and I'm immediately clicking and going a little bit higher. I want to make that behavior a negative association. Jumping on me. Not that he does it, but going to the trash. Eating off the floor. I don't know what that is that he was eating, right? So I don't want him to just eat whatever he wants just because it seems, enticing to him. I don't want him to just eat whatever. So we want to make sure that we create a negative association to that. Now what we could do is that when he refuses certain things, right, we give him a reward. So we have that balance effect now, right? No to that, yes to this. Now down means down, just like sit. I want to be able to walk around him. I am going to anticipate that he's going to mess up. If he messes up, we don't hold an emotional attachment to that, right? There's nothing wrong with dogs messing up. This is exactly how they learn. Now he can hold this for 2 minutes. He's just about to go home, so we know that he can pass. So anytime he messes up, I'm just gonna immediately click. So again, every time that we start off with a brand new cue, I do dial this to 0, and then I raise it to a 1/4 inch, right? Anticipate that he's gonna mess up. So right now, just for context, I have it somewhere around a 15. Not that I think he's gonna mess up, he's actually pretty good, but I'm just gonna be ready for that to happen. All right, break. Break, good job. There we go. So now he does a good behavior, right? So right now he jumped on me. I immediately clicked. I said break again. I gave him an option and he passed. So now we're going to do that balance effect. We're going to give him lots of treats. Break. Yes. So this is what we call a jackpot. This is where I give him the opportunity to do a behavior. And if he does a good behavior, he gets really rewarded for that, right? He refused to jump on me. That's hard for him. He doesn't jump because he's a bad dog. He jumps because he's excited, right? And we know Goose. We know that he's a very excitable dog. So we really want to reward that. Break. Yeah, good job, bud. Right, immediately click as soon as he jumps. So this is just how we're going to test him. Goose, break. Good job, buddy. Break. Yeah, good job. So that's how we're going to train on that jumping. All right, so the next cue is gonna be our heel. So heel is gonna be the very most important cue of all cues, right? This is gonna be what's going to dictate or indicate how your relationship looks. I can tell a lot about a dog-parent relationship depending on how the dog walks. Now, does the dog listen? Does he acknowledge? Does he respect? If he doesn't do any of those three things on the walk, he's probably not doing it at home. So, what I want, when we're walking, we're sharing the experience. So what I want is for him to walk right by my side, ears to my hip, feet aligned with mine. So I'm gonna say, Goose, heel, heel. I'm gonna challenge him, heel, 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 sit. Good job, buddy. So what we do when we're challenging is that we're walking back and forth. We're challenging him to mess up. If he walks ahead, behind, or stays behind, I'm gonna give him a small click. If he walks with me, we're gonna give him lots of verbal cues, letting him know that he's doing a really good job. Good job, buds. All right, so now we're gonna grab him on the leash, and this is how I want your walk with him to be. Now keep in mind, if he's walking ahead, sniffing the floor, peeing or pooping, we're just gonna constantly indicate to him that he's in the wrong. So we're gonna say heel, So I click there when you dip down, off, off. Grass is always gonna be naturally very hard because there's a lot of scents, there's a lot of information for him to smell. These dogs love to smell, heel. So if you notice scratching on the e-collar, you do wanna give him a slight correction with the leash, just a little tug to let him know that we don't want him to do that. This is how we want the walk to be. Nice, calm, respectful, Good job, buddy. And right there, he did heel with me. Perfect, buds. Good job. Every now and then he does glance on me and he establishes eye contact. Sit. Good job. So anytime he's establishing eye contact, you do want to kind of reward him for that. Let him know that he's doing a good job. Eye contact is beautiful. Not all dogs are going to have eye contact on a heel because they're distracted by everything else. Sure, if you want to do a very focused heel, you could easily do that with treats heel, right? That's more of like the advanced obedience stuff. They're more for like the tricks. Now, one other note that I do want to bring up, super important, is going to be what lure training is. Lure training, you saw a little bit of that when we did that heel. What it is that dogs follow the treat. This is how we get them to do everything, right? So treats, I recommend you use treats all day long. For the totem over, we might not use as many treats because I don't want him to be treat reliant, right? There's a difference between a treat reliant dog and a dog who receives treats just because he loves them and you love him and you guys are having a good time. I want you guys to have a good time, but again, when it matters, if he's all the way down the road, we want to obligate him to follow through because we're going to keep him safe. So, lure training, what it is that he follows the treats. We don't really actually need words. We just do things, right? Good job. So this will be our first time that we're going to do it. We're just going to see, can you crawl? Okay. Yes. Yes. Down, down, down. Yes. All right, so as you can see, he knows how to crawl. So this is the fun stuff that you should be doing with him whenever you can. It's not important, it's not super important like obedience, but it's just fun to do. This is why we have dogs. We want to enjoy them, right? Good job, buddy. All right, sit. So our final cue is going to be our place cue. Sit. Nothing wrong with you reminding him to sit when you see that there's temptation. Sit. sit, sit. Right, I hold the tension because it's getting a little bit goofy. I don't want him to start losing it and skyrocket. So I just hold the tension upward. Anticipating that he's gonna mess up. Goose, place. Place. Good job. So now he's on place. He's not allowed to be anywhere else but place, right? Now he's allowed to sit or he's allowed to lay down, completely up to him, but he's not allowed to get off. So I raise this by a 1/4 inch, and as soon as he breaks, we're just gonna give him that stimulation. This is my favorite cue because, well, heel is technically my favorite cue because there's so many beautiful things to heel, but really, my favorite cue is place. Because this is the one that's gonna give you a companion. If he knows how to heel, he knows how to cool down, he's gonna know how to place, right? This is the one where you're in my face, dude, go to your place. Like, I wanna read a book, I wanna do something with you, but you not being in my face. This is the cue that's gonna get you there. Now, he's trained to do it up to 2 minutes. We train way more than that, to be honest with you. On afternoons, we want him to just kind of lay there when it's hot. I'll literally put on the TV and have him place, and I'm just watching him my peripheral. At some point, he'll lay down and take a nap. It's absolutely wonderful, but this is what's gonna give you that wonderful dog who just has his place, right? If I wanna be at a park like I am right now, I wanna have a picnic, I wanna do something, go to your place, right? Be a good boy. Now, I'm having a conversation with my friends. I am always keeping him my peripheral. I do anticipate for him to mess up, especially if there's a lot of things going on. We want to correct that as soon as it happens. Now, we're not just going to do corrections, right? We're going to do lots of rewards. We want to pay him for doing the wonderful things that he's doing, like this. All right. There might be some information I forgot, maybe some information that I covered now that I didn't cover the other times. You have my phone number, so feel free to give me a call anytime. I am going to give you some written material as well for you to kind of visit. We do guarantee this training, so please, if you have any issues, let's meet up. Let's make sure that he's successful, because this is the dog that I want to give back to you. This is the dog that I want you to keep. The sweet, wonderful, brilliant Goose that listens. Is it always going to be perfect? No, you saw the beginning how god-awful it was, right? People would probably see them and be like, that dog's not trained. But look at him now. It takes a little bit of warming up, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with warming up. Nothing wrong with him being silly. We don't expect him to have the mindset of a 14-year-old child. They have the mindset of a 3-year-old child. And that's okay. That's okay, right, buddy? Also, I didn't use it now because I'm a little bit shy, but when you are doing training and you're rewarding him, use your Mickey Mouse voice. Use it high pitch. They love it. They go bananas for it. If he's going too bananas, you want to make sure that you don't use that high of a pitch, but you'll figure out your pitch. Don't be shy. Have fun with your dog. Thank you guys so much for choosing Omega Paws to be your dog's trainer for Goose. Truly appreciate it. You guys have a great one.